So you've got to start a new creative project. You need video elements, you need photography, you need graphical elements, you need fonts, you need 3D images. But where do you get all of that? Especially if you don't have a 3D modeler to hand, or a photographer, or a videographer, or a graphic designer. Well, the place you need to go is a stock website. Now there are hundreds, if not thousands, of stock websites out there, all offering individual items from photographs through to fonts, through to video files and stock footage. But my favourite stock website is Envato Elements. Why? Because it has all of those items in one place. I don't need to jump around to different websites to find things. Today I'm going to take you through Envato Elements. The reason being that I've been using Envato Elements for many years, and Envato reached out to me and asked if I'd be willing to do a review of it for them. So let's jump over to the PC. I'll take you through it, and I'll also let you know how much it costs for a subscription to Envato Elements. To check out the Envato Elements website yourself, you can use this simple link, which is ryb.rocks/EE. So the first thing I want to do is basically take you through a quick overview of the type of content and stock files that you can get on Envato Elements. So along the top of the website, you can see this menu here, which is essentially where you will access directly each of the categories. So you've got stock video, which is broken down into stock footage, motion graphics, video templates for After Effects, Premiere Pro, Apple Motion, Final Cut Pro, DaVinci Resolve. We've got music tracks, we've got logos and idents. We've got sound effects that cover game sounds, domestic sounds, human sounds, cartoon sounds, and a lot more. We've got graphic templates, which cover print templates, product mockups, websites, UX and UI kits, infographics, logos, and scene generators. We've then got graphics themselves, such as backgrounds, textures, patterns, icons, objects, and illustrations. Got presentation templates, so that'd be things like PowerPoint templates and Keynote templates. We've got your kind of foundational stock, which are photos. So we have Envato Elements photos, and we also have access to 2020 photos. There's 50 million plus photos on that collection as well. We then have fonts. You have access to serif, sans serif, script, and handwritten and decorative. We've got add-ons, so you've got actions and presets, brushes, layer styles, and palettes. You've got web templates, so you've got admin templates, email templates, site templates, and landing page templates. And then we've got another category here for more stuff. So we've got CMS templates for things like Drupal, Joomla, Magento, and more. WordPress themes, plugins, and template kits. We've got 3D files, and then we've got some free files, which I'll talk about later when we talk about the subscription pricing. And we also have courses and tutorials. You get a subscription to Envatotuts Plus, which is quite an expansive library of tutorials and how-to guides. And then we have some tips and resources. So that's the quick access here. You can also do a specific search for an item in this top bar. If you want to search for a specific topic, let's just say it was we're doing a topic of space, then you can search for space and it will search in all of the categories. Or if you want to search a specific category, you just click on the drop down here and it will let you choose a specific category. So if I choose fonts, for example, and then hit the search button, it will bring up all of the fonts that have space either in the name or as a tag on that particular item. So you can see here we've got 492 fonts have shown up for space. So while we're on here, I want to quickly talk about the fact that you can filter in each of these topics. So let's just jump to stock video, and you'll see here over on the left hand side we have filters, and you can refine by various different categories. And these filters will change, will contextually change depending on the category type that you're in. The filters aren't the same for each category. They will change depending on where you are. So for example, here in the stock footage, we can filter by whether it has an alpha channel, if it's looped, stock footage, and motion graphics. We can filter by resolution, so we've got up to 4K resolution here, so really high quality footage. If you're only looking for 4K, for example, you can move this slider all the way up so it only shows results of footage which has 4K resolution. You can also filter by frame rate. So it may be that you're creating a video which has a specific frame rate and you want footage that you can just quickly drop in and it will match the frame rate of your timeline. And you can also search by video length. So if there's a specific length that you want, you can just move these sliders and it will only show you footage from those. Let's take a look at music. So for music, you can see we've got different filters here. So we can filter by whether it has vocals, vocal samples, male vocals, female vocals, no vocals at all. You can filter by tempo. Again, you've also got filtering by length, and you can filter on whether it's looped or not. You can also filter by the type of instrument, main instruments in there, and by mood. So maybe you're looking for something which is upbeat and happy, or maybe you're looking for something which is more dramatic and emotional. You can basically click on these to say, yes, I want dramatic and emotional, or you can say, no, I don't want dramatic and emotional. So you can include or exclude here using those filters, and you can also refine by the genre as well, and there's quite a few in each of these categories. If you click on show more, it adds in extra stuff here. Let's take a look at graphic templates. You can choose whether the graphic templates are vector or whether they're layered. You can look for print templates, product mockups, websites, etc. You can also choose whether they're RGB or CMYK. Obviously, if you're going to be using one of these as a base for a design and you're going to have it printed, you probably want to choose the CMYK versions. You can choose whether it's landscape, portrait, or square, and which application you're using. So at the moment, the supported applications are Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, Adobe XD, Figma, and Sketch. Unfortunately, there isn't any support that I've seen for the Affinity range of software. So Affinity Photo, Affinity Designer, Affinity Publisher. I've not seen any of the templates, any templates here that are linked to those. Hopefully those will come in future, because I know that more and more designers are moving over to the Affinity suite. It's very good, and it's also a lot cheaper than the Adobe subscription, so I can totally understand why people are kind of moving over to that. Let's have a quick look at fonts. So with fonts, again, different filters as you would imagine. You can filter by serif, sans serif, script and handwritten, decorative. You can filter by spacing. You can also filter by optimum sizes. So what are these fonts best suited for? Display, poster, for small text, for body copy, whether it's condensed or any size. One of the options here is web font. So if you're trying to choose, let's say you're choosing a font for a brand project, you're creating a new brand identity for a client, and you're choosing a font for their logo or for the to pair with their logo that they'll use in all of their materials. You probably want to make sure that there is a web font version so that they can use that font on their website. You don't want to have to resort to creating graphics of every piece of text and uploading that to the website. You really want the text to remain live, because that will help with SEO purposes, so that robots and any crawlers can actually read the text on the page rather than it being a flat graphic. So this is a handy option to have here, to have this filter for web fonts. So I'm not going to go through all the categories. You can do that yourself. We would be here for quite some time if we went through all of that. So I want to kind of jump on to downloading files and show you how easy that is as well. So you can see here, well, let's go to some graphics. Let's put some filters in. So I want to go for vector. I'm looking for illustrations. I want it to be Adobe Illustrator. And I'm going to look for devil horns and see what comes up. So here we've got all the illustrations which are related to my filters here. And then what you can do is you can either click on the download arrow straight away. So let's say we were going to download this first one. If I click on that, it opens up this window here. And then what you need to do is you can search for an existing project, or you will have your last 3 recent projects, or you can create a new project. You can download without a license. So if you're going to download without a license, that would be for you to probably just test and play around with. If you're going to actually use the downloaded item in a project, you need to assign it to a project so that the license gets tied to it. And we'll talk about licensing in a little bit more detail further into the video. The other way to download is you can actually click on the thumbnail. And if you click on the thumbnail, it will open it up and it will give you a little bit more information about what's included in this file, along with the dimensions and any sort of additional information here. And you can also check out the licensing type for this. There is a link down at the bottom in the footer for Envato Elements about licensing. I would highly recommend you read that. It's fairly straightforward. They keep it very clear, but again, we'll touch on that later on. So this item here is just one image, and here's what you would get. So you would click on download here. This window will come up again, and you would give it a project name. So we would call that, if I call that test project, it will give it a little green tick, and then I can add and download, and it will download that to my computer, and I can use that for my test project. Okay, video templates. Let's go to some stock video. The one thing that's useful with stock video is obviously looking at a thumbnail doesn't really give you much of an idea of what it is that you're downloading. So if you actually move your mouse cursor and leave it sitting on top of the thumbnail, it will play the video that you're going to download. A lot of the videos have audio tracks. And you can listen to the audio track by clicking on the little speaker icon here. I'm not going to click that because if it starts playing some music, it may cause copyright issues on YouTube with this review video, so I'm going to leave those muted. What I will say is that when you download a video, so let's click on let's go for motion graphics here. So I'm going to click on this one here. And you can see again, it's giving you some information on the length of the video, the resolution, file size, and the frame rate, whether it has an alpha channel and whether it's looped or not. Some videos will come with the audio track, which you can hear in the preview, and some won't. If it doesn't, usually there will be a README file, a text file that tells you where you can get the audio file. Sometimes that audio file is available on Envato Elements, sometimes it isn't, and you may have to purchase that as a separate item. So it's just something to be aware of, that you might want to just, the thing is you can download the file and check whether it has the audio or not, and if it doesn't, you can then just maybe try and find another one which does have the audio or has the audio available on Envato Elements. But you will have to just double check on those things before you start to use them, just to make sure that it has got the track that you need. Okay, so what's next? Okay, one last thing I want to show you in terms of downloading, which is kind of cool. So if we go to the 3D category, so we've got over 100,000 3D objects. And so when we look at these objects, we can see here that yes, they're 3D sort of isometric view. But the cool thing is that you're not just downloading that one view. So if we click on the deal with it glasses here, you can see we've got this view, and we can download this particular angle as a PNG or a Photoshop PSD file. It will be, if you download as PNG, it will be a transparent background, so you will have the glasses and the shadow, so you can place it onto backgrounds. Same with the PSD file. But here's the cool thing. So what you can do is you can click on this View 360 render here. And what it does is it renders this item. And if I click and hold my left mouse button down, I can actually move this 3D model around and view it from many angles. And if I find an angle which I really like, so let's say it was this angle here where we're looking at it from the back, I can then download that particular angle. If I wanted to create a 360-degree animation of this, what I could do is just rotate this each time and download each angle as a separate file, and that would become a frame in the video. I could then, take all of those individual frames and then you could use Photoshop, for example. You could use the timeline in Photoshop, or you can import those frames into your video editor, and then you could create an animation of these glasses rotating. Or it might be that you decide I need a 3D garden gnome. You can just click on View 3D Render, and instantly we have lots of different lots of different views of this gnome, and we can download every single angle. It would take you a little while, but if you don't have any 3D modeling skills and you don't know how to kind of use cameras to rotate in your in video editing packages, then this is a good way to do something like that. So let's move on to the licensing. So when it comes to the licensing in Envato Elements, they do make it fairly easy. It's very clear. Every item has a commercial license. As you can see here, one simple commercial license. All items on Envato Elements have the same simple license terms. You get broad commercial rights, so you can use items with confidence on work or personal projects. So for me, obviously the key thing is if I'm wanting to use some elements in a client's work, then that's a commercial project. I'm covered by this. There are some very slight exclusions which you can read about in the licensing, but in the main you can use pretty much everything. I think the one thing that you can't do really is to download a template and then sell that template. Just basically you could download everything from Envato Elements, set up your own website, and then start selling those templates. You can't do that. The licensing does not cover that. The licensing is for you to use those items, templates, fonts, sounds in projects. So that's you're fully covered there, including things like logos, etc. You need to register. So if you download an item for using in a project, so if we go back, let's say I want to download this gnome to use in my gnome project, I would download this, I would create my gnome project, and I would create gnome project, and then I would add and download. So I've now downloaded my gnome, and it's now tied to my gnome project. That license is good to go. Let's say you have another project where you want to, I'm just going to download this. So you can see there that's now downloaded the Pudgy Lawn gnome for me. Let's say you want to use that gnome, that same angle, but in a different project. But what you need to do is you actually need to license that for that other project. So what you can do is you can go up here to your account menu, and if you go to My Downloads, it will open up your recent downloads. And rather than having to download the item again, what you can do is simply add another license. That will bring up the Pudgy Lawn Gnome. You can add in a new project name and then license to that new project. So let's call it, I'll call it Gnome Project 2. And then I can license that to Gnome Project 2. So it's important that you do that. You can also download the license as well and save that in the folder where you're using the item. I would recommend that. It just keeps everything nice and easy. Just in case you needed to find the license document, it would be downloaded in your backup. But if you did need the license for some reason, maybe a client just wanted to make sure that everything was all above board, then you can just go into your account, download the license and show that to your client. So the licensing is really, really straightforward for this. I mentioned as well as we were going through the categories that you also get a full membership to Envatotuts Plus. Now, Tuts Plus used to be a thing on its own, but it became part of Envato, and that was, that's a good thing if you're a subscriber to Envato Elements, because you now get access to everything in Envatotuts Plus. 1,000+ video courses. They've got ebooks. There's no adverts on anything. So if I click on unlock my Tuts Plus account, because I'm already logged in, it will take me to that here. So we can have a quick look through this to see what you get. So we've got how-to tutorials covering pretty much anything and everything here, from programming through to how to work from home effectively. It's not just design tutorials, creative tutorials, there's business tutorials, there's all sorts of things here. So we can see this bit at the top, discover over 30,000 free how-to articles and tutorials, and you can hear it, it covers a huge range of things. We've also got courses, so there are full courses how to learn different skills as well. You've got ebooks and you've got guides. And this is all free. This is all part of your Envato Elements subscription. So one thing that I want to talk about, and it's, not everything is perfect, and Envato Elements isn't perfect. There are, there's a couple of things that, so for example, I mentioned on the videos, they've got soundtracks in the preview, but when you download, the video and you're like, oh, this one doesn't have the audio, that's a bit of a pain. So there is that, but one of the main thing for me, which I really hope that Envato will over time introduce, is when you're looking for a font. So if you on some other font stock sites, you can actually type in your own text and it will show you all of the fonts using your text. So let's say I typed in Rock Your Brand, I can hit apply, and then when I click on a font, it will show the words Rock Your Brand in that font. Quite often when you're looking for fonts, you already have an idea of what it is that you're looking for it for. It might be you're creating a logo and you know what the word is and you know the style that you want. When you're looking for fonts, they're always presented in the best way possible by the designer. They create these great thumbnails showing the font in the best way possible. So if we go back to our space search, for example, to me sometimes it's like the names of the fonts and the letters they use work really well and make the font look great. But then when I've put in the text that I need, maybe the letters or the numbers they don't look quite as nice. Plus as well, they've used a lot, they will have used a lot of graphical finishes and techniques to really make the font stand out. So let's look at this Eternals one, for example. You can see here it's got this 3D, really space-like effect to it. Now when you download this font and open it up, it's just going to be a flat black mainly. You know, if you're just typing it out, it's going to be flat. It's not going to have this effect on it. So you need to be sure, you know, that you're downloading the right one. And so I would love for Envato Elements to introduce the ability to be able to type our own text in, so that we can preview the fonts in our own text, so that we save time. Because there's times where I've found fonts and went, that looks really good, I think that's going to work really well for me, download it, install the font on my PC, type it out, and it doesn't quite work. It's not, you know, the letter forms that I'm using aren't really working in that particular font, so I need to go back and find another one. It would save a lot of time if I could just, in this top area here, type in Rock Your Brand, hit apply, and then I can see all of the fonts in those words. I wouldn't even mind if I had to click into a font and then, you know, there's a little box here where I can type it and it shows me a preview of how that will look. I don't mind that. It's just to save me from downloading the fonts and then using it. So that's really the only negative aspect that I have for Envato Elements, is that font preview. If Envato Elements could introduce a font preview, it would be amazing, and it would just you know, be the cherry on top for me. But I know that one of the things that you will be thinking about as well, and asking yourself as well, you know, how much is this? So let's, you know, kind of get into and talk about the pricing and the subscription levels that you can get with Envato Elements. Well, the monthly subscription fee for Envato Elements is $33. That's if you pay it on a month per month basis. So the flexibility of that is that you can cancel your subscription whenever you like. Whatever month you want, you can just cancel. But if you know you're going to be using a lot of stock materials, then it is very beneficial to you if you sign up for an annual subscription, which is what I do. And that takes the fee down from $33 a month to $16.50. That's a 50% saving by committing to an annual subscription. If you're a student, you get a further 30% discount on that, and that takes that down to $11.50. But what if you've got a team? What if you've got team members and each team member needs to have their own account? Well, they have catered for you as well. If you have multiple members that need accounts, then each member that you add, you will get a further discount. So for example, if you have 2 team members, that will take the monthly fee per member down to $14.50, and every member you add on will decrease that monthly amount. Now, Envato does have a free level of membership as well, where you get to download a limited number of items each month. They are from a restricted selection, so it may not be that it suits the creative project that you're currently working on, and that's where it's beneficial to be in a paid membership, because you have access to everything that you could potentially need. I will be creating a follow-up video to this one where I will be putting together a creative project only using items from the Envato Elements website. So make sure you've subscribed to the channel to be notified when I release that video. Also, I do have a monthly newsletter, so you can join hundreds of other brand rockers who've subscribed to my Rock Your Brand email, and that goes out on the first Tuesday of every month, and you can sign up to that at rockyourbrand.co.uk. So until I see you next time, folks, stay creative.